What is going on, peeps? All right, man. Look, we've been talking about Academy, and he is kicking tuchus. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So, Iraq is to launch investigations into killing of the protesters. Now, this article is interesting in a lot of different ways. Okay, so let's just talk about this a little bit here. And look at the new Iraq government has begun procedures to re-investigate. For those you don't remember, when Mahdi was in control, he's the one that started investigation. The problem was it was him and his people that did all the killing, if I'm not mistaken. So re-investigate the violent acts during the popular protest that broke out in October and killed more than 700 people and injured over 25,000. This decision was greatly welcomed at home and in the international arena. The United Nations Security Council called for transparency during this investigation. So one of the biggies that was on that Miss Blashart's list of things that needed to be done was a real investigation into what happened to the killing of these protesters, okay? So remember, now, this all happened under Mahdi's reign. And so now Kademi's in here, and look, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. This is one of the things on the United Nations list, and that is you're to investigate what happened, and there's to be transparency and let the world know. Except for, guess what? There is some resistance. And of course, where do you think it's coming from? Following the meeting of his government, May 9th, Prime Minister Kademi announced the formation of an investigation committee whose members have not been disclosed so far. Of course, you don't want to get whacked. He said the committee will work on uncovering the names of the parties responsible for killing hundreds of protesters who have been calling for reform and a trial of corrupt politicians. The committee is currently being formed and its members will be announced at a later stage. This is the second committee of its kind, following the one that was formed by Mahdi, the former minister who resigned at the end of November, which did not yield satisfactory results for the protesters and failed to indict any party beyond the bloody event that took place in central and southern Iraq. So, of course, there is some resistance from a couple of the political blocs, okay? And so what they're saying is this. You can go ahead and do your investigation, but you can't do anything to Mahdi. I don't think so. If he's behind any of this, he should be held responsible. The political parties, for the most part, support the government in conducting an investigation into the ongoing violence that started last fall. The parties, however, have different stances in regards to the responsibility of Mahdi and his government, since he also served as the supreme commander of the armed forces, accused of using excessive force against the demonstrators, and was supposed to take a decision based on internal voting as per the Constitution. Thus, the investigation entails the accountability of all involved ministers. That's what I told you. This is one of the things that they had a problem with when Zarfi was nominated to be the prime minister than when Alawi was, because they knew these people would go in there and do the investigations. And guess what? They still got stuck with somebody that's going to go in there and do this. This is a big move, man. I'm telling you, ever since Kademi has been put in office, we've seen some really bold and big moves on so many fronts. And so actually doing this investigation would carry a lot of weight, I think, not only with the people of Iraq, but on an international level, because we're seeing that these people are, hopefully, it looks like, straying away from, not straying away, but steering away from corruption and starting to become a legitimate government again. And this is happening very, very quickly. Don't forget, we do have some special meetings coming up in June. We hope that result in some very special things. He added that, yet we hope the new government would be able to track down the perpetrators who have been targeting protesters across different parts of the country. But we know that a big bulk of them were reported by the protesters as being, Iranian-backed militia people who are working for the Iranian-backed, the Iranian-backed Iraqi politicians, including Mahdi. So I'm curious to see where this goes, okay? So As usual, I'll leave the links for all these because there is a lot of information on here. They're going back and forth. The different factions in here, the Fatah allowance, and there's another allowance in here saying, look, this guy, Mahdi, did what he was told. He should not be investigated per the constitutions. The parliament voted on what needed to be done. Well, I can't imagine him voting on the need to kill unarmed protesters. So if that's the case and political parties did vote on it, then you need to hold all those people accountable. I don't want to hear, they were just doing the best. No. When you start shooting unarmed protesters who are peacefully protesting, then there is a problem. All right. So, so this article goes back and forth about the legal right to try Mahdi in any situation. Okay. So just so you know, in the United States, whenever you're serving in the military, you have to follow all commands with one exception. Anything your superior officer commands you to do, you must follow. There can't be any subordination. There's one exception to that. If a person deems that the command they're giving them is unlawful or could cause harm or danger to individuals, then you don't have to follow it. In other words, if I'm just sitting there with my rifle and I'm in the army and my commanding officer just tells me to randomly kill somebody just because he's my superior officer, does not mean I have to follow that command if I deem that it's not for a good reason. Okay? In other words, if he just wants me to kill a random person with no reason, no, that's unlawful. So if I did it, I can't use that excuse, I was doing what I was told. No. No, you know the difference between right and wrong. Now, if I'm with a commanding officer during a time of war and he wants me to take a position to kill any of the enemies coming towards us, that's different. Do you see the difference? That same thing happens over here. You can't just say, hey, man, I was told to do that. You know who tried that? Yeah, the Nazi military people during the military trials. They were saying they were just doing what they were told, and guess what? They got hung for it because just saying you did what you were told when you knew what was wrong is not going to swing very well. Okay, guys. So Halabasi and Al-Sisi agree on meeting that will bring them together. I believe it's pronounced Sisi. So, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Halabasi, who's been playing a huge role, man. Him and the lady from the United Nations have been meeting a lot. Also, just kind of making sure that the meetings between Iraq and the Kurdistan people are bearing some fruit, if you get my drift. A statement issued by his office, the Al-Farat News, received a copy. Al-Habasi affirmed during the call that Iraq is keen on strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries, as they should, and cooperation to serve the interests of both brotherly peoples, pointed to the importance of the Egyptians' role in Arab issues. So the guy that we're talking about, Al-Sisi, is from Egypt. There seems to be this coming together of a lot of those Arab nations, and it seems to be going fairly smooth at this moment. So let's just make one thing straight. You're going to need all of them, and these are groups of people that have been battling for centuries. You're going to need all of them to find a way to come together. There's no reason for the Middle East to be in the situation that it is. I understand that they mostly fight over religious reasons and territories and resources, but come on, man. Everybody should have the right to worship who they want to worship and do it peacefully. All right, that's just my take on this. Okay. There was another thing on here I want to talk about during the contact to confirm the continuation of cooperation between the two countries of the parliamentary and government at all levels, and the exchange of experiences in the area of reconstruction and energy. So yeah, that seems to be a lot of there going on. So what they're talking about is helping Iraq out with their energy crisis. Okay, here's another Ministry of Finance, Minister of Oil Agencies. This kind of goes on, but they're little quick blurbs. So here is what the Ministry of Financial Agency is saying. All right, let's do this. As required by the current situation in Iraq, I met today with the Economical Policy Departments and Economic Department of Ministry of Finance, and we decided to implement immediately the following. Okay? Imposing a high estimate customs tax on the fees and goods intended to be imported into the country. The money is to be transferred abroad for the purpose of purchasing it through imports and exports companies, insurance on the amounts to be transferred, and ensuring the entry of goods into the country and imposing the tariffs as well advanced customs. Okay, so so now they're getting back into the swing of trades, imports and exports. So they're going to use the money to start a more robust trading situation. Before the goods are received and the difference are returned by taxes, insurance, and fees imposed on the merchants when the goods are imported to the country in order to prevent cases of money smuggling and washing through. Okay, so they're looking for money laundering. And that is, they're smuggling money in and out of the country. And it makes you wonder, why? What are they sneaking money out for and then bringing it back in? We know what money laundering is, but I'm just saying, why dinar? Why not American dollars? Developing secret laws for bank accounts and training employees in bank financial institutions and others, modern methods of detecting and reporting money laundering. Okay, so we just so I don't have to read all these, just so you are aware, what this guy is doing is he's addressing all the money laundering and criminal activities that used to take place in banks. They're now going through and implementing policies to identify illegal activities is what this is about, and how they want to handle identifying money laundering and making sure that money is not going to terrorist organizations. Okay, so that's what's going on. So far so good. I just wanted to talk about real quick. This thing to me was a big deal. The fact that Al-Qademi is now looking into investigating into what happened to the peaceful protesters is a pretty big step. And he's willing to go after anybody and everybody, including the former prime minister and anybody under his government at the time, as they should. The United Nations is applauding this, and they want transparency when doing so. Let's hope that it's a legitimate investigation and they find those who are truly guilty of what happened and justice is served. So far, that's what's going on today. I just thought this was pretty big news, and I just wanted to show you that. Again, still to this day, I mean, this rocking and rolling. There's no negative news that I've seen coming out of Iraq. So far under Al-Qademi, and I know it's only been a short period of time, there has been nothing but positive news, more and more positive news. That's what we want. That's what we're looking for, you guys. This is a huge step in going towards our dinar is getting the exchange rate implemented, all right? The more this type of action, the quicker we can get there. And it looks like we're not too far away. Maybe in June. We will see. All right. Just a quick reminder, I have 2 Facebook groups. One is called Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same as the YouTube channel. You come in here, we should be talking about investment things only. Okay? So come in here, we talk about Iraqi dinar, Vietnam dong, cryptocurrencies, gold, and silver. Now, for you conspiracy people, I have this other group that you could come and join and leave all your conspiracy and political things over on this side and not in the other group. I just show you this side so you guys know where to go for all the Nasera, Jacera, political things, QAnon, the whole 9 yards are all in the hidden things in front of your eyes. Okay, so there's a link to both of these groups. They're free to come and join. I encourage you to do so. So this side is your conspiracy, political side, because I know you guys like to cross-mogenate them. Don't do that. Over here in Pimpy's Investment Chat is just investment things only. All right, you guys, I appreciate that. I look forward to hearing from you soon. If you like what you hear, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe because it helps out the channel and keeps it free. All righty? Talk to you later. Bye.